Tire Center, Squim Ace Hardware, Wild Birds Unlimited, and Olympic Game Farm. Friday night, Port Angeles travels to Squim. We'll take the air at 6 p.m.
Are you a Clallam PUD customer? The PUD Board of Commissioners is holding a public work session at the Carlsberg main office on Monday, September 25th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to discuss the 2024 budget and associated rate impacts from proposed scenarios involving capital projects and rate design for 2024 and 2025. Customers may attend in person or via Zoom. Visit clallampud.net for meeting information and attendance link.
Rely on us for complete news coverage. We're Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A key meeting at the White House this hour. President Biden and Ukraine's President Zelensky holding talks. The president expected to announce a new military aid package for Ukraine. It follows Zelensky's trip to Capitol Hill, making a personal appeal to lawmakers for more support.
The latest aid to Ukraine is from money already approved by Congress.
What you can expect the package to include will be more air defense and artillery capabilities to support the Ukrainian armed forces.
Pentagon spokesman General Pat Ryder, U.S. has already sent more than $130 billion in aid to Ukraine. President Biden asking Congress for $24 billion more, which is stalled, passing a budget in the House. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
House Republicans and Democrats scheduled to go home this weekend with no votes scheduled. That despite an end-of-the-month deadline before a government shutdown. Republicans at odds over a stopgap measure to extend funding for another month.
Despite Speaker Kevin McCarthy trying to reach a deal with the far-right plank of his party and centrist conservatives, it appears the speaker is in a worse spot than he was before. Democrats say a government shutdown would fall squarely on the shoulders of House Republicans. Emwin, ABC News, Washington.
In upstate New York, one person is dead and 5 others in critical condition following a bus crash about an hour outside New York City. Students from a Long Island high school heading to Pennsylvania for band camp. ABC's Aaron Koturski has more.
The authorities are examining pieces of the bus that fell off in this horrific crash, and they have a ladder extended. That's how they may have extracted people through the windows. There have been a number of ambulances staged on the highway, on the interstate itself, with people going down this embankment to try and get to as many of the kids on board as they could.
Fox News Corporation founder Rupert Murdoch stepping down as leader of his multi-billion-dollar global empire. His son Lachlan Murdoch takes the helm in November. You're listening to ABC News.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
New details involving 2 Utah women accused of child abuse. One of them had a popular parenting channel on YouTube.
According to newly released search warrants, Jody Hildebrandt, the business partner of mother Ruby Frankie, allegedly used cayenne pepper and honey to dress the injuries of the children kept in her basement. One search warrant was seeking rope, duct tape, and anything else consistent with child abuse. In one warrant, officers said they found a 12-year-old victim with duct tape around their ankles and who was emaciated. The warrant saying that child had open wounds. The 2 women are being held and due in court next month. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A disgraced South Carolina attorney back in court today has admitted to criminal wrongdoing for the first time.
Alec Murdaugh's appealing the murder convictions and life sentences he received for killing his wife and son. But the disbarred attorney is going to spend years in prison after pleading guilty Thursday to 22 federal crimes involving money he stole from clients of his law firm. Those victims included 2 sisters who lost family members in a car crash and the estate of his longtime maid who died in a fall at his family's home. The 55-year-old, now disbarred attorney, is also being required to pay back the $9 million. He still faces over 100 state-level counts. Brian Clark, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like Certainty Landmark Pro, right at my fingertips. And now through November, purchase Certainty with Beacon Pro Plus, web or app, and earn up to $750. Beacon, always building.
I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Join Airport Garden Center for the upcoming Rose Class. Saturday, September 30th. It's the Fall and Winter Rose Care Class. Learn when to prune, what to feed, and how to protect your gorgeous roses for the upcoming season. Featuring special guest Tamara Allen. Tickets available at airportgardencenter.biz. You know it's true. Quality plants start with quality soil. And right now at Airport Garden Center, GMB Organic Soil Building Conditioner is buy one, get one free bag sale. Soil Building Conditioner is the perfect amendment for your lawn. It also promotes root development. Stock up on GMB Organics now with the buy one, get one free sale. We hope to see you here for the upcoming Fall and Winter Rose Care Class, September 30th. Tickets available at airportgarden.biz. Airport Garden Center. Planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Sunny skies this afternoon with a high of 67. East winds around 5 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight, lows around 51. Highs around 67 tomorrow, mainly sunny skies. Cooler Saturday and Sunday with highs from the upper 50s to the low 60s. Showers both days. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 67 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome once again to the program. First segment, we're going to be talking all about a Pops concert. It's hard to believe, but fall is here. That means that the Port Angeles Symphony Orchestra is back in action again, and as a tradition, they start things off with a great Pops concert, and it's coming up on September 30th, and we welcome the maestro, the conductor and the artistic director for the Symphony Orchestra, Jonathan Pasternak. It's been too long. It's been a whole summer since we talked.
Yes, Todd, exactly. It's great to be back. Thanks.
Nice to have you here. Let's talk about what you have set up for the 30th. Again, this is always a little bit of a kind of a different concert for folks, and I think a lot of people kind of dig that.
Yeah, exactly. And we're really excited about it. We just started rehearsals a couple weeks ago, and the vibe is great. We're so happy to be back together, making music together, and this is a real fun program. We call it our Family Pops, so hopefully there's something for everyone. And it includes the all-time classic Tubby the Tuba. Generations have enjoyed Tubby's story of finally getting to play the melody in the orchestra and not just the oompa or just the oompa. I don't know. Anyway, our fantastic tuba player Tyler Benedict will be featured. Pat Owens will be narrating. And that'll be a lot of fun. But that's just one segment of what I think is a really fun program.
You gave me a little bit of a hint. You've got the high school choir involved this year again?
Yes. Yeah. Starting up again, a collaboration, which I hope will just take us well into the future with John Lorenzen and his Port Angeles High School choruses. And they're going to come in and sing with us America the Beautiful, 3 verses. And it's a tradition that I've started with the Pops, and we've done it every year to close the concert.
So come for that, if nothing else. I bet it's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, it is gorgeous, and they come in their green finest.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, right on.
But another highlight, which is just fantastic music, is Leonard Bernstein's own suite that he arranged from West Side Story, and he calls it Symphonic Dances from West Side Story. And it is a very difficult, complicated score, but that's not how you hear it. It just sounds great, and it's full of dances, obviously, and songs from the musical, and it's a technical tour de force for the orchestra.
Have you ever done this before?
I have never done it, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
And the orchestra has never done it either. Sure, they've played a
They played
medley.
the songs, right?
Yeah,
in the past, but
yeah,
not
they
curated in such a way.
Not this one.
Yeah.
Not this one. Yeah. I probably shouldn't be admitting that I haven't conducted, but you just bring it out of me.
Well, we'll all be pleasantly surprised. They'll say, "This sounds like they've played it 1,000 times."
It's going very, very well.
Interesting. Okay. You also are going to be saluting the Coast Guard, I understand?
Yeah, that's right. So another thing that I love to do every year at the Pops is to do one of the great marches. And this time we're going to do Semper Paratus. And that, of course, is the Coast Guard song. And it's in honor of the service and also their great presence in this community and importance to this community.
So take us through how you develop the Family Pops program. And this, again, is kind of a different approach. These aren't what you would normally get at a symphony orchestra's concert throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's right. So for the normal symphony concert, usually we have a featured soloist. So depending upon who that is, what their instrument is, what they're playing, I'll form a program around that. That's usually how that happens. And for this, as I've teased out, I'm coming up with sort of a Port Angeles Family Pops formula, where every year we start with the Star Spangled Banner. Sometimes it's an interesting arrangement. Last year was Igor Stravinsky's arrangement.
Oh, wow.
And I think we'll be coming back to that in the future. And ending with America the Beautiful, and always having a nice, rousing march. And in there, sandwiched in between, I love to do some film music and Broadway scores, and also some what you might call light classics. So this year we have William Tell Overture, which is a great piece, and I think is very famous generation after generation. It's used in so many different places, TV shows, movies, etc., cartoons, and so that's great. And also what I hope to do in the future is every year to feature one of our young artists. So maybe the winner of our Nico Snell Young Artist Competition, which is held in January, and then we'd program that person with hope for the following Family Pops in September. And another thing I'm interested in, and this is all about getting the excitement of being in an orchestra concert, live orchestral music, to people who perhaps have never been to an orchestra concert, and especially for the whole family, to bring the kids in. Tickets for the morning and the evening for kids. That's I think as old as 18 and under, absolutely free.
Wow. So
absolutely
bring
free.
the students, bring the kids.
Yes, bring them all, please.
Yeah.
And there's no limit.
And let's talk about getting tickets, though, for those over 18. How does one get one in? There's actually two, as you usually do. You have the dress rehearsals available at 10 in the morning. Then you have the show at 7, the real show, as I like to say.
That's right. So our symphony concerts are at 7:30, but this is at 7 p.m. Family Pops, a little earlier for families. And like you said, public dress rehearsal at 10 a.m. This is all at the Port Angeles High School Performing Arts Center. And you could get tickets several ways. They're available at Port Book and News. You could also go online to www.portangelessymphony.org and get your tickets there. And I have a special
Lay it on my
here.
listeners, because it pays to listen.
Absolutely. And this is a special offer for listeners to the Todd Ortloff Show. If you're listening right now, you could go online to our website at your leisure, and you could put in a special code which will give you as many free tickets as you'd like for Family Pops, either the morning or the evening. And that code is POPS 930. That's POPS 930.
as in the date of the show.
Well, there you go.
9:30, right? Yeah,
exactly.
I see what you did there.
I'm glad you got that. Yeah.
Pops 9:30. Yes. Easy as that. Put it in there and get a whole bunch of tickets. Bring everybody. Bring the neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Please do.
For your orchestra, though, this is also kind of a fun thing for them because it is a departure from what they usually do. But, it's not necessarily easier music. As you just alluded to, you're playing a piece that it sounds like could be just as demanding as some of the, big orchestral standards that they might be doing.
It is just as demanding. Yeah. And the William Tell Overture also is no walk in the park.
That's crazy hard. I know people think it's
exactly. It's crazy hard. It starts with a cello, a 5-part cello chorale, and goes from there. And that's led by our fantastic principal cellist Tracy Tyson, and I do think that people are excited about this, and also that they're learning to trust my programming in that part of my formula is not just to do stuff that's fun to listen to, but it's got to be fun and challenging to play.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sounds like you have a great program set up.
Thank you.
Give us a hint. What's coming up in the future here is that now, because this, as I said, this kicks off your season, so let's talk about what's coming in the months ahead.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah, again, we're so thrilled to be able to present a full season of concerts. We have our Family Pops kicking off. We have 3 different chamber programs. So that's in October, in January, and in May. And we have 5 symphony orchestra programs. In November, in December, that's our very popular holiday concert. In February, March, and May. And we have some fantastic guest artists coming to solo with us, and some really, really beautiful music like Tchaikovsky's 6th Symphony, and like Respighi's Pines of Rome that calls for all sorts of extra brass that we're still recruiting for, and I think you'll be seeing a bunch of our high school students there, and just a lot of great stuff. At the very end of the season, almost the end of the season, our last symphony program is going to feature Johannes Brahms' A German Requiem, and one of my absolute all-time favorite pieces. It's a very, very moving and also inspiring and comforting work, and we're going to have a big chorus for that. Not only the Port Angeles Symphony Chorus, but also choristers from Victoria are joining us. Also choristers from Port Townsend, their Rain Shadow Chorale, and points east, Seattle, Bellevue, other places. They're all going to converge on Port Angeles, and we're going to have
this beautiful piece of music off.
It's going to be a blockbuster concert.
So probably the best thing to do is head over to that website.
Yes,
because you've got the list on there. You can also get signed up, I believe, for your email alerts and all of that sort of thing, so people can be well informed as to what the concerts are and when they're coming up.
Yes, absolutely, and we still have season tickets available at really significant discounts, which I'm so glad we can provide.
Not to belabor the point, but I always say this: we are so fortunate to have such a high quality symphony orchestra in a town like this, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But here's a 20,000 population town with a symphony that's on par with some metro level stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, and with 65 players, that's actually
pretty amazing. That number of players out.
Yeah. That's a big percentage point of 20,000.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right, Jonathan, it's always great to have you. Thanks
always
for coming
a pleasure.
in. I know you're back in a few weeks. We're going to be talking about the next concert before you know it. But do get out to the September 30th Family Pops concert. 10 a.m. for the dress rehearsal. That's a public dress rehearsal, and then 7 p.m. if you're used to the 7:30, it's a 7 p.m. Show that evening. And again, if you want to get all the tickets you want for free.
That's right. Go on our website. You heard it here. It's for you and you alone, Todd Ortloff listeners. Use the comp code POPS930. That's POPS 930.
All right. Perfect. Jonathan, it's great to see you.
Great to see you, Todd. Thanks.
Good to be back. We're back into normalcy again. Yeah. Summer's behind us. Let's play some music.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan Pasternak there, who's the conductor and the artistic director at the PA Symphony Orchestra here. And we're going to take a break. And I guess it's kind of related. We're going to do our business bits next with Kevin Holton. It's about art as a business. somewhat related. We'll chat about that right after this.
This weekend, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, the Washington State BMX Finals will take place at the Lincoln Park BMX track. Friday, single point race with racing starting at 7 p.m. Saturday, double point pre-race starting at 4 p.m. And Sunday, triple point state finals race starts at 9:30 a.m. We're excited to be expecting between 900 to 1,000 racers for the weekend. Spectating is always free, so come check it out. Anyone can race as well. You just need a membership. The BMX season will continue through November.
Stick out your tongue and say, it's the craziest thing you ever saw. Here at Olympic Game Farm, they say howdy with a wave of a paw. Now it's hard to steer clear of the elk and the deer when they pop in to say hello. They've got lions and tigers and bears. Don't forget about the buffalo. It's impossible to stay calm. So come out with your dad and your mom. Canine and feline, you'll find us online at onlygamefarm.com.
Saving on your home improvement projects is almost as important as the service you should receive. With Angelus Millwork, Angelus Rentals, and Hartnagel Building Supply, you can always depend on superior customer service. But did you know that your favorite employee-owned stores have monthly product specials, coupons, and sales? Monthly specials on products that you need now are handpicked so you can save up to 30% when you need it the most. When headed to your mailbox, look for the Valpak envelope with special coupons from all our stores. Angelus Rentals, the only full-service tool rental company in Port Angeles, features a different tool each month that is 25% off. In closing, visit angelusmillwork.com for the latest sale information. We have annual sales on power tools, paint and stain, decking, wood pellets, and more. What we're trying to drive home is there's always a promotion going on, so come see us often or find out more online at angelusmillwork.com. Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply. Building homes, building community since 1906.
Building a future, sharing a dream. Working together, we're on the same team.
At Straight View Credit Union, we know that buying a home is a big decision, and that's why we're committed to offering local decisions made by local decision makers. Our mortgage team is comprised of experienced professionals who are intimately familiar with the Clallam County housing market, ensuring that you get the personalized attention and expertise you deserve. We're here to help you navigate the home buying process and make the best decisions for your unique financial situation. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we prioritize the needs of our members and our local community over profits. That's why we're proud to offer great mortgage rates that help support our members' dreams of homeownership. Straight View Credit Union, your trusted local financial partner. Visit us online at svcu.com or stop by our branch on Lincoln Street in PA. Insured by NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
All right, back with more on the program. Next couple of segments, it's our business bit segments, and that means our business guru, Kevin Holt, joins us, and we're going to be talking all about art as a business. He warned us about this over the last couple of weeks. Kevin, good to see you again.
Thank you very much. Great to be here on a beautiful September day.
It is almost too good to be inside,
That's
but
right.
We will be anyway. Let's talk about art as a business because, well, it can be. And we should,
hope so.
Full disclosure, this is going to be a two-parter here.
Yes.
We're going to get started with this, and we'll wrap it up next Thursday.
There will be more.
All right.
That's right. So, as Todd mentioned, over the last 2 weeks, we have talked about the untapped opportunities here in North Peninsula tourism. And we talked about the 3 million people who come here each year to enjoy our natural beauty. We learned about the $200 million that those visitors would like to spend here, but can't. And then we discovered that visitors can't spend that money because we don't yet have the retail and the services that most tourists want. And finally, we introduced the idea that a tourism side hustle can give local residents access to that unspent $2 million. Now, today, and for the next couple of visits, I'd like to address a particular group of Peninsula residents who are uniquely positioned to tap in to that $200 million of unspent money. This group is our local artists, and it's a big group. There are lots of artists here, and tourism could present just the opportunities some of our tourists are looking for. To access this opportunity, local artists can benefit by pursuing art as a business. Now, many artists' skin will begin to crawl at this point, but I'd like to ask people to step back and take a breath, because the very first step in accomplishing this goal is to reorient your idea of success. The typical artist's vision of success is to create wonderful art, often without boundaries or limits. And that's how art works. The secret to business success is to find out what people want and then sell it to them. Art as a business is the intersection, for those of you on YouTube, of what artist wants to create and what people want to buy. When you can find that crossroads of what you like to make and what people want to buy, you can then start accessing this $200 million that's just sitting in people's pockets.
And I'm not to put words in your mouth, Kevin,
Please.
but I think you're going to tell me that you can have both as
believe,
an artist.
I believe you can. Some artists don't.
Right.
But we're going to talk a little bit about how to kind of wrap your head around this idea of, as your grandmother would say, pursuing filthy lucre. So let's take a look at the process of getting into art as a business. So first, we want to change that mindset. Artists sometimes have a very tenuous relationship with money. Asking for money for art, pricing, marketing, selling, this leaves artists frustrated and confused, in part because much of it deals with vocabularies and concepts that are completely outside the world of the average artist. There could be another way to look at that relationship, though. Early in his career, if you're a film historian, you will know this, Walt Disney was publicly criticized by other filmmakers at the time, back in the early 30s, because he was making cartoons for money. And how is that being an artist in this new genre that's been created? And Disney replied, no, I make money so I can make more cartoons. Mm-hmm. And I love that mindset. It's not the idea that you're doing something untoward. You're doing something to move your other ideas forward. Some people call it selling out. I call it buying in. Buying into the idea of making consumers happy by selling consumers versions of your art that satisfy consumer needs. Now, did I just say consumers 3 times and art once?
Yes, you did.
Was there a hidden meaning? So, just to be clear, hesitation, lack of focus, and internal conflicts about money can slow you down until you clear that up. Now, artists can start this journey into art as a business a little bit more comfortably by creating a vision of success that includes an artist's statement. The artist's statement is focused on accomplishing your goals while you're earning money. And an effective approach to resolving those internal conflicts is segmentation. You can divide your audience into commercial and creative segments. There are the people who come and ooh and ah at your great creations at the local studio or show, but they don't buy anything. And then there's the people who might want to buy something. Writers call addressing that market writing pot boilers. Written works that are just made to create money so you can eat, so you can write the great American novel. And when an artist creates a commercial segment, the financial focus seems less creepy and daunting. So a great statement is going to help you express yourself as an artist. It's going to help you stay true to the relationship between you and your work. It's going to help you identify the commercial segment of your audience. It'll transform your ideas and thoughts into more concrete action plans, because I know I have artist clients, they struggle with that. Mm-hmm. It seems constricting or restricting, or it's holding them back, but it's really a guidepost or a guardrail. It'll help you focus your creative flow to create an income source, and it energizes you to create work for commercial purposes. So here's a couple of quick samples before we take a break. A glass artist says, "Getting outside is good for the soul. Through my artwork, I bring the outside in. I want my creations to look like they've lived or grown. Living with my tributes to the natural world reminds us to slow down and reconnect with nature. I bring my art to the public in ways and places that enhance my connection with my collectors." Now that last sentence, enhance my connection with my collectors, that's basically saying getting closer to my target market. Mm-hmm. Because artists call customers collectors, because we all hope that they will collect
All of your art.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes. Now, here's a silkscreen artist. I celebrate the human, the marks that people make in the world. I treasure the local, the small scale, the eccentric, and the ordinary. I share my respect for what people have built for themselves by creating art that anyone can own. A commercial element to that. And then finally, for a sculptor, he wrote, home is a place not only of comfort, but of control. Home acts as a shield against the unpredictability and chaos of the world. I use domestic objects as the common denominators of our personal environment. I offer my art to collectors that they can own and conceptualize their very own vision of what home means to them. So, in each case, the artist has introduced the idea that their art is for sale. I've provided references in the show notes about writing artist statements, the difference between a statement and a bio, and some things to watch out for. So when the show notes go up, you can get that.
All right, which will remind you, KevinYourBusinessCoach.com is the place to go soon after the show. He'll have all of this up, including all of the info he's been talking about as well, for all you artists or would-be artists out there that are trying to find a way to eat.
Or as I often say, or if you care about an artist.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Who's looking to find a way to eat.
Absolutely. Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll pick this up on the other side of the break right after this.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg salutes our military veterans, active duty, and first responders each and every day. This isn't a special or a one-time deal. 365 days a year, Red Carpet offers 10% off all services to this special group. Please let them know who you are so they can honor you. And for Purple Heart recipients, you'll receive a free wash anytime, every day. Please accept our appreciation for your service and sacrifice. Red Carpet Car Wash, open Monday through Sunday, 8 till 5.
Time keeps rolling along, and September is the month we roll out of summer and into fall. This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and this month is a great time to get your car serviced for the months ahead. We offer competitive prices on all of our service options, and the Wilder Advantage includes a staff of factory-trained technicians, free safety inspection with any service, and free car wash. We'd love to keep you rolling, so give us a call to schedule your next service visit or schedule online 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
Hey there, Dawn Riley with Olympic Hot Tub. Our super smart top special is here. Save now on your new hot tub and get a free smart top cover worth $3,000. Smart Top is the ultimate cover for your tub. Strong, long-lasting, and ready to defend your tub against northwest weather. These savings will make you feel, well, just super. Details at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
When every second counts, you need the best care. Olympic Medical Center's emergency department is making significant updates to ensure you receive faster, more efficient care. A streamlined process means you'll receive expert attention from our healthcare team starting the moment you're triaged. OMC is also the only Level 3 trauma center on the North Olympic Peninsula, meaning we're prepared to quickly handle true emergencies and traumas when they arrive. Learn more about what we're doing at olympicmedical.org/emergency updates.
Are you a Clallam PUD customer? The PUD Board of Commissioners is holding a public work session at the Carlsberg main office on Monday, September 25th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to discuss the 2024 budget and associated rate impacts from proposed scenarios involving capital projects and rate design for 2024 and 2025. Customers may attend in person or via Zoom. Visit clallampud.net for meeting information and attendance link.
All right, we're back with more. It's our Business Bit segment, as we do each Thursday here on the TO Show, and that's where Kevin Holt joins us. And today we're talking about art as a business, and specifically we're in a very unique spot here with so many tourists that come through here. Tourists are notoriously grand at art purchasing.
They really are. You know, they bring money and they want to spend it.
Right.
And I think it's important to note that people who visit out here are especially likely to bring money. This is not an easy destination at which to arrive. And it's not the kind of place that attracts young families with small children, because you can't really bring newborns out here. The support network is too arduous. And so you're going to find people with older children, lots of spendable money. They come in those $1 million RVs we see clogging up the roads. And so really it's a unique blessing and opportunity to to have that kind of thing come to your door, and we'll talk about that in just a minute.
Okay, so let's get back to where we were
Step
at.
one was get your head right. Step two is finding out what people want. And here's an excerpt from author Eric Maisel. He's a writer who's written a book about selling art to tourists, and he did a couple of blog posts, which I've linked in the show notes, about selling art to tourists. And what he says is that many artists are in survival mode. They're struggling to make ends meet. They are squirreled away in their studios, painting, writing, or practicing their instruments. And like all of us, artists are overbusy and over-anxious. Now, for these reasons, artists tend not to think about visitors to their community as potential collectors. Artists rarely connect with these fellow human beings, the tourists who visit their locale, who are themselves looking for some meaning. This is a shame, as these visitors are primed and ready. I think we've said that about 15 times now, and Eric says it too. It will benefit artists to pay attention to these ready, available collectors. And Mr. Maisel is a strong proponent of participatory art. He believes that there are unlimited opportunities to deliver art-oriented experiences as a business. Photography workshops in the Olympic Forest, painting waterfalls, collecting artifacts of nature for found art pieces. Just don't take them out of the national park. And the kinds of activities, and he has a very expansive website, and it's linked in the show notes. So this is a concept that is by no means new. Now, I first learned about art as a business when I worked in the state of Alaska almost 50 years ago. When I worked with the indigenous peoples in the Arctic, the people I met there were less than one generation removed from their hunting and gathering lifestyle. Hunters and gatherers live by their powers of observation, and when Alaskan indigenous artists visit hub communities like Barrow, Fairbanks, and Anchorage, these artists went hunting for customers. The indigenous artists used their power of observation to learn what Alaska visitors wanted, and then they set about producing these items for sale to these markets. Powers of observation and willingness to adapt to the market helped these hunters gather customers for their art. Adapting meant earning money, quite honestly, in a place where it's pretty hard to earn money. Opening up more opportunities to sell art and expanding their brand. Now, Todd just quivered a little bit because expanding the brand is another radio consulting nightmare.
Yeah, it is.
But expanding the brand here means getting your art and you as an artist in front of more people. So researching an art market can be really fun, and it's really easy. Like the indigenous artists I knew, any artist can learn by observation. As Eric Maisel said, get out in the world. Take day trips. Visit locations where art is sold and make notes. Who is buying? What are people buying? What is the size? What is the medium? What is the themes? What are the subjects? What are the prices paid? Who sold how much? How fast did the transactions go? What were some of the effective sales pitches you heard? You know, if you want to get onto the Pike Place Market in Seattle, you could spend several days there working your way through all the stalls and just hearing how people survive in a very competitive environment. In Kitsap County, there's a Kitsap County Park right next to the Kingston Ferry Terminal. When my wife and I go visit my mother in the summer, she's 95, by the way, slowing down, but she can still kick your butt in gin rummy. When we go see her, we stop off at the Kingston Ferry Terminal. We walk through that art market. And we're not artists, so we don't pay a lot of attention to these things, but it looks like a great laboratory. And Kitsap County has a lot of events like this. I would make that a stop on my art research trips. And next, consider what kind of mementos people would typically buy in your area. Remember to think about what types of souvenirs tourists can bring home. Are they limited to small items they can fit in a suitcase? Is your area a road trip destination where, you know, what they buy is going to be beaten around in the back of the RV for a few days before they get it home? So how can you create artwork that is in congruence with the needs of the people who visit? Now, another area of art that people aren't really considering for art as a business that you will see in any major tourist destination is some kind of regular scheduled performance work. Now, I'm going to use a person here in the station who has a little program about Patsy Cline. It's very popular and very well received. Now, I have no idea if Amanda's interested in this, but because I know of her and I know of her show, I'm going to use it very quickly for an example. What if she started advertising in the tourist publications for a string of show dates next summer? And what if she organized a group of venues that she could access for this? And I think she knows a backup band. And what if you sold tickets on Eventbrite? And throughout the fall, winter, and spring, those performances filled up. And so people would come out in their RVs, they'd enjoy the park, they'd come to Port Angeles, they'd eat in a restaurant, they'd see a Patsy Cline show, and we would start to develop some gravitas as a place where you can do something besides fish, besides camp, and feed the mosquitoes and all the other things that we do out in the forest, and start seeing our community as a viable place for art. What if all of our physical media artists, the painters, the photographers, got together and said, let's do an artist tour. We'll have everybody go through town and stop at all our studios, see our work, read our artist statement, pick up our business card. We'll get their contact information, and we bring a whole, they just did this in Bellingham last spring. Massive success. And all of the participating artists found it very rewarding. Yeah. And so we need to start stealing. I'm an MBA. I'm taught to steal. We'll start stealing these ideas from other communities where they're enjoying some success. And we could get to the point then where we might then be able to present that Kitsap County Art Fair type of gathering, especially if it's coordinated with the other organizations here that work with tourism, Chamber of Commerce, etc., so that we're pulling together these ideas that now start to bring people to town for a very specific purpose, which is to consume the art that's created by the local artists in a place that they found worthy of a 3-hour drive to come see.
I've always said, folks, they'll come out of the campground for something.
They'd love to.
If they had something to come out for.
I mean, we've talked about this relating to the Grand Canyon or to Bend, Oregon, or even a little Leavenworth.
Yeah.
You know, people came down off the ski slopes to eat in all those restaurants and use those hotels, and then companies started having off-site meetings there. So there's tremendous opportunity. We get our heads around it, we do some research, and then next time we'll talk about treating it as a business.
All right. Kevin, we'll see you then.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, as always, for coming in for our business bits, and all this info's at kevinyourbusinesscoach.com. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more in just a moment.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg salutes our military veterans, active duty, and first responders each and every day. This isn't a special or a one-time deal. 365 days a year, Red Carpet offers 10% off all services to this special group. Please let them know who you are so they can honor you. And for Purple Heart recipients, you'll receive a free wash anytime, every day. Please accept our appreciation for your service and sacrifice. Red Carpet Car Wash, open Monday through Sunday, 8 till 5.
Don't waste your money on fake, stale, rancid, or substandard olive oils. At Foghorn Olive Oil Tasting Room, our olives are picked green off the trees and processed in 2 to 4 hours and are full of antioxidants. Enhance your fresh fruits, vegetables, and proteins with our healthy and delicious olive oils, always fresh and never, ever cut with unhealthy fake oils for profit. Foghorn Olive Oil Company, open 11 to 4, Wednesday through Saturday.
Join Olympic Garage Door for a special grand opening celebration Saturday, September 23rd. Olympic Garage Door has been serving the community since 2008 and is excited to share their new showroom with you. Bring your friends and family for a day of fun at Olympic Garage Door Saturday the 23rd. There's going to be a classic car show, scrumptious food by Jose's Salsa, plus major raffle prizes, including a garage door opener from Genie, a $600 value. Live music and ice cream will keep the celebration flowing. It's all happening Saturday the 23rd. As an added bonus to our radio listeners, get 20% off your next garage door service by simply mentioning this ad. Don't miss the grand opening celebration at Olympic Garage Door along Highway 101 in Sequim. Delicious bites, live music, classic cars, and giveaways. See you at Olympic Garage Door Saturday the 23rd from 10 to 3.
Clallam County, the Backyard Butchers are here with 20 ribeyes or 2 pounds of king crab leg for $39. Just look for the big white truck in the parking lot at Tractor Supply Company in Port Angeles. Stock up and save on bulk meat specials on beef, chicken, and seafood. And you can register to win $300 in steak. 2 pounds of king crab legs or 20 ribeyes for $39? Oh yeah, don't wait, as the Backyard Butchers are here for a very limited time, today through Monday only. Look for the big white truck in the parking lot right now at Tractor Supply Company in Port Angeles and get 20 ribeyes or 2 pounds of king crab legs for just $39. It's today through Monday only. Visit backyardbutchers.com to find all locations and info. Backyardbutchers.com. Cash, credit, debit, and EBT accepted. Backyard Butchers are on site now at the Tractor Supply parking lot. Stock up on bulk meat specials today.
In this segment, a very unique book is out. Actually, it's the second in a series called Campfire Stories, Volume 2, Tales from America's National Parks and Trails. This is an anthology of sorts of tales about some of the legends in our national parks, 6 of them specifically, and one of those is Olympic National Park, and we're going to talk with the authors of Campfire Stories. This is edited by Dave and Alyssa Q, their husband and wife, and they put both of the volumes together. And Dave and Alyssa, thanks for joining us. Let's talk first about what inspired you, how you got started putting Campfire Stories together. This is the second volume, so obviously this has resonated. Tell us about your story on putting stories together.
Yeah, so Dave and I didn't grow up with camping as kids. We fell in love with it as adults, and we often took a lot of our vacations and trips to places like national parks or state parks, and we found ourselves sitting around a campfire at night and not really knowing stories that one is supposed to tell around a campfire. And so, we also found ourselves sitting around the fire and reading anything we could get our hands on, whether it was the national park brochures or guidebooks that we had to learn a little something about the place. And later we ended up, thinking of this idea for Campfire Stories collection, and it happened to be the centennial celebration of the National Park Service. So we thought, hey, that would be a really good structure and way to form this collection of Campfire Stories.
Now, what's interesting about this is that you've managed to put together, I would call it a travel log, but it's not, a standard travel log. As you mentioned, these are stories. These are like the background. These are the, what people have told about legends and such in some of these places.
Yeah, I think one of our goals for the collection is that it would have a really wide variety and diversity of story types. We have anywhere from poems, songs, ballads, short prose. We kind of wanted the reader to have a sort of variety and find something that they might like in the collection versus like your typical nature writing travelogue, which can be quite long read.
And we do want somebody who's reading Campfire Stories to be able to walk away from the collection, reading, the 6 or 7 stories per park that we've curated, and say, wow, I really understand the essence of this place. Whether you have visited 100 times or you haven't visited at all, we really want to try to communicate what these places are like to our readers.
Well, certainly the reason I'm having you on my program is you have Olympic National Park right there in the middle of this. So let's talk about that specifically, because I think our listeners would be keen on knowing why and how you picked the stories that showed up in the Olympic National Park section.
Sure. I guess one important caveat for us is that in Volume 2, we actually didn't do much traveling. We've been to Olympic once before, but didn't come back out. Weren't able to come back out because we largely wrote this book during the pandemic. And it was just the fact that we were all stuck indoors, imagining the outdoors, that kind of reconnected us to try to put together this next volume. So we picked Olympic, and instead of us kind of traveling, which for Volume 1, it was us traveling to all 6 of those national parks and really getting a sense of those places so that we could, tell a little bit about those stories of those places. Whereas for Volume 2, we decided we wanted to commission more writers And we really were able to understand the park through the different writing submissions that we got. And what we learned about Olympic was that, because so much of the park is protected wilderness, 95% of the park is actually protected by the Wilderness Act. So there's no road that takes you right through the middle of Olympic. And what you see instead is that this is a forest full of mystery. And the submissions we were getting, what the writers were telling us were that, there's so much mystery that they're all seeking something. Different writers in the collection are looking for Roosevelt elk, are looking for to find a way to be ancestral history. They're looking for Glukeek, also known as Sasquatch.
Yep.
They're looking for that one square inch of silence. And I think we were so drawn to the park, to the idea that there's so much mystery that everyone's going to look for something here. And whether or not they find it, they're rewarded by the process of the search.
Absolutely, and I can tell you, as a born and raised guy from these areas, all of these are stories that I had been told in one form or another. So it kind of resonates personally with me as well. You are out traveling here in our neck of the woods. Let's talk about that part of it as well, because that's another reason we have you on today.
Yeah, so we are on a month-long book tour. We started in Seattle, Olympia, Tacoma. And we're kind of working our way around Washington now. Have an event at Leavenworth, up in Bellingham, over to the park in Lake Crescent Lodge and Lake Quinault Lodge. So we're pretty excited to be here.
Right, and a little later I'll give some details as to that stop at Lake Crescent that you're going to be doing here, which is just down the road from us. This may not be a fair question to you two, but out of the Olympic National Park section, is there one story that you like more than any of the others, or seems to be your favorite?
Oh, it's like choosing children here. Well, I will give a shout out to the Glukeek legend told by Harvest Moon. As Dave mentioned, Glukeek is also known as Sasquatch or Bigfoot. One of the things to know about our book is that it's not full of spooky, ghost stories.
Right.
And that was an intentional choice. One, because Dave and I are wimps and we don't like scary stories. But two, we wanted people to feel connected to a place and have an authentic sense of place. And we didn't really anticipate or think that we could find a story that, was a little bit more of a traditional story that, had authenticity to it. But we came across Harvest Moon and her telling of the Glukeek legend. And, we knew that Bigfoot was kind of a big deal out here. And it was sort of this magical moment of like, wow, that's really compelling legend of Glukeek. And we've had Harvest Moon out for several of our events. And it's a whole other experience to see Harvest Moon really perform that story, and has, was our favorite, and, has solidified its spot as one of our favorites in this chapter. And Harvest Moon will actually be out at our Lake Quinault Lodge event again, if you want to get a taste of that yourself.
All right, and again at the end of this, I'll tell you where you're going to be out here, because Quinault's not too far from us either, out there towards the coast. Why those 6 parks?
Sure. I think for the first volume, we thought travel would be so important to the process that we drew kind of a route around the country and picked 6 parks. But in this book, I think it was less important to have kind of a direct travel route. So I think we were interested in just finding 6 different parks that would have different themes that would vibrate off of each other. So that if yes, you can read through Olympic, but then, we also wanted a reader to be able to travel to the desert and read stories from Joshua Tree, and then go, over to the Grand Canyon. And then, maybe take a little break, start to dive into the marshes of the Florida Everglades. So I think we were looking for 6 parks that were popular, but also really gave you a diverse sense of what the national parks can be like, how big this country is, and how magical all these different places and environments are.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned at the top of the show, you both grew up not being campers, not going to parks and all of that as well. What flipped your switch, I guess? Now you are obviously very avid in touring parks and all of that.
Well, it was kind of by accident. So Dave and I we had a trip up to Toronto, and there was a sanitation strike, and pretty much every business, every museum, everywhere we planned to go was closed because they had nowhere else to put the garbage. Mm-hmm. So we rerouted. Someone suggested we should check out Acadia National Park. And so we did that. We camped for the first time together. We did everything wrong on that camping trip. It was very, very uncomfortable. We slept right on the floor of our tent, and the granite sucked the heat out of us. But yet, we really fell in love with Acadia National Park, and we fell in love with being in the outdoors. And that really was sort of the start of our love for the outdoors and making trips out of that.
You know, it's a similar story. A lot of people have a very clumsy experience when they first become an outdoors person. And that sounds like you.
Clumsy is the word.
How do you obtain these? Do you reach out to these authors? How do you find people, that submitted for this? I mean, like, for example, Harvest Moon, you obviously had some interaction with before, but where did you find your authors?
Yeah, so it was a little bit different between the two volumes. Volume 1, we leaned largely on historic text or text that we could find within libraries and archives when we were traveling, across to all of these national parks. Oftentimes there would be publications, magazines, sometimes even just papers stapled together in a park library a story that somebody wrote. But we realized in creating Volume 1 that, we had these goals from the start that the collection would share sort of like a diverse perspective of the national parks. And we weren't really finding that diversity in the way that we were collecting stories. There is, we prioritize women authors, Black authors for Volume 1, but it wasn't quite the amount that we had wanted or the diversity. So we decided for Volume 2 that we would create more opportunities and seek out those stories from a more representative audience. So we actually put out a call for submissions that anyone could apply to, and we had a specific invitation to the BIPOC and LGBTQ plus communities to apply, as those groups are typically marginalized from outdoors and outdoor writing especially. And it was open for anybody to apply, and they could submit an existing story, they could submit or they could apply to write a new story about one of the parks, or they could apply to receive a travel stipend to travel to one of the parks in the book and write about something that they learned or were inspired by in the park. Well, and we also, the one other way is that we took a look at the artist in residency program.
How tough was it to curate, though? Did you get a lot of folks that applied?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There are hundreds and hundreds of stories that came in. And, we wanted to honor the time that people had put in to write and share these stories. So we read through all of those. We also did our own research, kind of going out and finding, kind of reconnecting to texts that we had read. Certainly Cheryl Strayed didn't send us her section of Wild for consideration for the Pacific Crest Trail chapter, but that was a text that we loved, so we went back and tried to find a little snippet of it, and then I think it's about finding the stories that jump out to us, that tell us something that is essentially true, and finding 6 that really work together. So then really starting to think about it as a collection. And Alyssa and I, we both have an equal footing here. We're kind of pitching each other, hey, check this out. I think this would work really well. And then we just kind of keep having that discussion until we find 6 that kind of, jump around to the different, these parks, even though they're singular places, they're also such varied ecosystems. There's so many different things to tell. So that's why this anthology format works for us. We can bring in different voices and different authors to tell us about each different aspect of the park. And ultimately, we try to find 6 that work really well together, that are both true but also entertaining. Something that you'd want to read around a campfire, or if that format doesn't work, that you'd be so excited to share with someone else.
And to that note, as we kind of wrap things up here, you do have storytelling tips that you put right in the book. So if somebody wants to pull this book out and tell one of these stories or one of their own, you give a bit of a guide there, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we worked with Ben Camp, a theater producer, and camp counselor based out of Philadelphia, also at the last name Camp. We
That's
thought
perfect.
that there were too many connections. Yeah, but I think there are lots of subtle things about how you read and the way you perform these stories that can really make or break the stories. And we wanted to, we certainly hope that people are doing what they're comfortable with, but really ultimately sharing these stories. And also to that effect, we then produced a card deck. So that's a different thing. But there's a card deck because so many people were like, hey, I have a great story about being in this park. I have a great bear encounter. But, so many of those stories didn't quite fit in the book we were putting together. So we created this card deck that's, you pull out different cards out of the deck and they're different prompts. So really we're trying to bring back the art